let's talk about the minimum wage. Dr. Mark Thornton is on the line with us. He is an Austrian school economist and senior fellow at the Ludwig von Mises Institute. The website, mises.org. Dr. Thornton, welcome.
Hey, Tom. It's great to be back on the program.
Thank you for joining us. We know from past experience. Well, first of all, when you look around the world, there's an interesting article in today's Financial Times about the minimum wage in the UK and how the Tories, the Conservative Party, has joined the Labour Party and the Lib Dems, all three of them, in calling for raising the minimum wage. And the minimum wage in the UK right now is, in U.S. dollars, around $10.50 an hour, and they want to raise it up to around $12 an hour. The minimum wage in Canada, I believe, is around $15 an hour. The minimum wage in Germany is something close to 16 or 17. In a lot of the Scandinavian countries, it's in the mid-teens. Here, it's $7.25. And we know from previous experience that when the minimum wage is increased, it stimulates the economy. You can see this, if you look at every time the minimum wage has increased in the United States, over the following 24 months, you see an increase in economic activity beyond what was just the baseline. So why not raise the minimum wage at least back to where it was in 1968, which would be $10.10 an hour?
Well, Tom, the minimum wage is a very popular policy, and it's supported by both political parties. Economists almost uniformly oppose the minimum wage because while its effects are very hard to discern in the short and long run, we do know that it harms the most disadvantaged people in the economy, particularly minorities and the handicapped, leaving them out of the workforce and making it very difficult for them to get in the workforce at all. I
would submit respectfully that that's just not the case. In fact, the EPI just sent out a press release. Over 600 PhD economists have signed an open letter initiated by Economic Policy Institute President Lawrence Michel and Harvard University Professor Lawrence Katz to the President and Congress in support of the Harkin-Miller Fair Minimum Wage Act. Signatories include 7 Nobel Prize winners and 8 former presidents of the American Economic Association. So to say that economists universally don't support the minimum wage, I think you're on thin ice, sir.
Well, it's not 100% opposed to the minimum wage. There's all sorts of different political ideologies within the economics profession, and you'll find economists supporting just about anything, including Nobel Prize winners who understand that minimum wages laws can cause unemployment.
These guys are suggesting that if we raise the minimum wage to $10.10, it will produce 85,000 jobs each year. If we raise it, it's a 3-step raise, 95 cents a year, and each one of those 3 years, by adding that amount of income at the bottom, when you inject money into the bottom of the economy, you give it to people who are going to spend 100% of it, you're going to see that money in the economy instantly. And if we raise the wages of the basically the bottom 30% of working Americans by 95 cents a year for each of the next 3 years, that is going to stimulate the economy enough. There's going to be enough additional economic activity that at least 85,000 new people are going to be hired.
Well, Tom, in addition to harming the most disadvantaged people in the economy, studies have shown that raising the minimum wage doesn't necessarily go to the people who are in households that are already in poverty. Much of those increases go to people who are in middle-class families, such as teenagers working part-time jobs.
Not anymore. The average wage of a McDonald's worker now is 29 years old. I mean, it used to, if you want to go back to when Reagan came into office, the average fast food worker was 19 years old. But now it's 29 years old is the average age of these folks. And we've got this, and every single Walmart in the country is costing the community $1 million because of the so-called welfare reform in 1996. Now people can work and get welfare, and so the companies pay these very, very low wages, close to or just slightly above the minimum wage. And the result of that is that the families qualify for food stamps and Medicaid and housing support and things. And so we're subsidizing all these big employers. Why not raise the minimum wage up to $10 so that these people no longer qualify for these benefits? We're lifting them out of poverty. We're reducing government, expenses. They're going to be paying more taxes. I mean, I don't see the downside to this.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Walmart, because in addition to those first two problems, it's really true that low-income people buy from places that employ lots of minimum wage workers, and so.
Well, yes and no. Costco pays an average of $44,000 a year. Costco starts people out at over $35,000 a year.
Right.
So, and they compete with Sam's Club, with Walmart, very, very effectively. This is not, Walmart's not paying lousy wages because they have to. They're paying lousy wages so that the 5 Walton heirs can be, in aggregate, the wealthiest person on earth. Those 5 people have more money than the bottom 40% of all of America.
Yeah, but if low-income people in poverty are not buying goods from Costco, those are upscale items at much higher prices than you'd find at discount warehouse type stores.
Have you been in a Costco? They're the same thing as Sam's Club. I mean, you just buy by the case, that's all. But they sell the same. They sell high end stuff. You can get a fancy TV there, but you can also get a case of Pepsi.
Oh, absolutely. But there are so many problems with the minimum wage law. It's not simply you can wave your wand and get people out of poverty in that way. If we did, nobody would be against the minimum wage, and we'd raise it to $100 an hour. I think there's better ways of helping people in poverty.
For example?
Well, we could cut payroll taxes on all income that people earn below the poverty level, and that would instantaneously raise every full-time minimum wage job, if they were single, out of poverty. If they had one child, they would be near.
I would go for that. In other words, you're saying make the what do you call it? You just named the tax. The payroll tax. Make the payroll tax progressive. If you wanted to make the payroll tax progressive, basically means test it and say people making under $15,000 a year don't have to pay into it. I would say fine, as long as you lift the cap. Have Bill Gates pay the same amount, same percentage of his income in payroll tax or higher than you or me.
And I'd also like to look at some of the restrictions on labor, some of the regulations. Why is it that a person can only work 8 hours in a day without, the overtime wage, or why can't they?
Because there's an inherent power imbalance between employers and workers. And so in order to compensate for that imbalance in the absence of a labor union, government has to set certain minimum standards. They have to, doing business in this country is a privilege. It's not a right. And if you want to get the tax benefits of doing business, if you want to get all the opportunity to make money from doing business, you have to do it within. It's like playing football. You got to do it within the boundaries of the rules of the game. This is one of the rules of the game. Don't exploit your workers.
It's certainly the case. What we need is more freedom and fewer regulations. I'm not implying that specific one is the.
If you're talking about more freedom to exploit workers, I completely disagree.
Well, for example, the government now has stepped up efforts to ensure that they're getting every penny of tip money from waiters and waitresses.
Right.
Those are the type of things that we don't need to be doing. We need to be injecting more freedom and less government regulations. And in addition to this,
so you think tipped workers should not be paying income taxes?
I think that going after them sends the wrong signal.
There are tipped workers in this town who are pulling home, $70, $80, $90, $100,000 a year. There are some fancy restaurants in this town.
And we need to get more opportunities so these people don't stay on minimum wage jobs throughout their lives. And the United States has become a country where it's hard to start a small business.
Yeah, I agree. That's because Reagan stopped enforcing the Sherman Antitrust Act. We'll be back. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Tom.
Hang on just a second.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
It's Dr. Mark Thornton. He's with the Ludwig von Mises Institute. MISES.org is the website. We'll be back.